Alright, Kamen Rider Zeztz. Let's talk about it. For the last 2 to 3 weeks, or however long Kamen Rider Zeztz has been out, it has been my hyper fixation. Now, of course, Kamen Rider has always been on my mind constantly ever since I watched Build, but specifically Zeztz has been on my mind almost 24/7. So even though I haven't uploaded in like almost a year or whatever, I've come back to talk about Zeztz, and I'm hoping that to do this every like 2 weeks or so, so every 2 episodes. So today we'll talk about episodes 1 and 2, and then next time we'll talk about episodes 3 and 4 and blah 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 until the end of Zeztz. Hopefully that's what's gonna happen. But right now I just need to talk about my thoughts on Zeztz. So for those of you that don't know, Kamen Rider Zeztz is the first Kamen Rider series that's being simulcasted to the US as well as a few other countries, which is really exciting because that's one big step in Kamen Rider becoming more global and more fans getting to enjoy it. And so that's been great. It was simulcasted on YouTube, and the whole shenanigans going on with that may not be the best, but the fact that we're just getting it is great. So I was able to watch the first 2 episodes during the replays and whatnot. In short, they're great, but now I'm going to talk about them in more specific details. So when I first heard about Zeztz, I thought it was a really interesting Kamen Rider, and I was excited. Don't get me wrong, I was excited for it, but there wasn't anything that I was like, this is going to be the greatest Kamen Rider I've ever seen. But I was going to watch it anyway because I wanted to support, Kamen Rider being in the US. So I was going to support it either way. And when I watched the first episode, my gosh, was it immaculate. Okay, I'm thinking back to all the Kamen Rider series I have seen. I haven't seen all of them, but I have seen a decent amount. And I can't think of another premiere or first episode that was as good as Zeztz. One that comes close is Kamen Rider Wizard. I really liked Wizard's first episode, but Zeztz just it was great. So with that, let's talk about our main character, Baku. And I really like Baku as a main character. I really got attached to him immediately as the main character, mainly because one, I really like the code opening in the first episode when he's the secret spy in his dream and he's really cool, kind of like Kabuto or Geats, but then when he wakes up, he's just a normal guy, so it's kind of, I like the duality of both sides of him. That was really cool. I also liked all the references he kind of had to other Kamen Riders, like the cowlick he has, which was like Sento from Build. And I love Build, okay? I literally have Build's belt right here with the full bottles. Or how he snaps his fingers when he henshins like Geats. So that was cool. We didn't get too much of the police in the first episode. We got more of them in the second episode, and I really like their dynamic with Baku, especially I don't remember all of their names yet, but as we watch the show, or as I watch the show, I'll remember their names better. But the male police officer and how him and Baku were really goofy with the female police officer being kind of like the straight man in the group, that was a really great dynamic. I really enjoyed that. We didn't get too much of Baku's sister, but from what I've seen, I've liked her. Hopefully she gets more screen time as the story goes on. Also, of course, we have Nemu, which is like Baku's like celebrity crush, and she has an interesting dynamic because she has so far only really shown up in the dreams, and so seeing how she works in the show is really interesting, where like each dream is just going to be her in a different role. Like she is a real life person in the universe of the show, but the only times Baku interacts with her is when she's in dreams. So kind of like we don't know if she's the same one or if she's just a fake Nemu that people are thinking up in their dreams because she's like the most famous person in the show, in the world of the show, not the most, because that would be the main writer. But that was that's interesting. Really, these past 2 episodes, we've really gotten a lot of the main character, which I'm okay with, since we're trying to, get attached to him as an audience. So that's fine with me. And obviously, I hope that as the show goes on, we'll learn more about the supporting cast. And then in the second episode, we get a freaking Transformer in Zero. He's really cool. He's kind of the commander that, as far as I'm aware, Baku made up in his head. And so he's in his subconsciousness. But from what I understand, he's not the robot. He's just someone else that's remotely controlling the robot. So it's interesting to see how they're going to work out here. So overall, the characters, while most of the characters didn't get that much screen time, because we're only in the first 2 episodes of the show, the main character I've been really enjoying. Story-wise, I'm also really interested in the story because it's about Kamen Riders and fighting in dreams, and we don't really know what the whole goal of the bad guys are. Like, we see them a little bit, and we see the nightmares, but we're not really sure what their goal is, why they're doing it, where did Zeztz drivers come from, where is all of this coming from? Well, how did this belt even get created in his subconscious? Stuff like that. So I'm excited to see where that goes, which is a good thing, because as a Kamen Rider show, there gotta be some type of mystery, right, that keeps you engaged in the show. So I'm excited for where that goes. So, but as of right now, the story isn't that much, but what we do have makes me more excited to continue watching the show. Now on to the part that wowed me. Okay, first off, the suit, the main suit, the base form, his impact form is beautiful. Really, really like it. It really gives me Spider-Man vibes with like the face and the helmet and how that looks. Obviously, we got to talk about the belt and how it's not actually a belt. It's more like a fanny pack, if anything. At first, when I first saw pictures of it, I thought it was okay. Like, it looked really simple, and it didn't look like it had much going on. And also, obviously, you have the capsims with the kind of like a picture book, or sorry, not picture book, like the flip book effect. I don't know the specific technical term for it. I know there is one. I just don't remember as of right now. But the toys and the gimmicks didn't look that interesting to me. And then I watched it in the show, and all of a sudden, this thing looks like the coolest thing I've ever seen in Kamen Rider. I really liked the henshin sounds that the belt made in the show. That first henshin he does in the show is one of, if not the coolest henshin I've seen so far in Kamen Rider. I really like Build's henshin, but it's goofy, but it has a lot of charm to it. Whereas this thing just looks really, really cool, and the sound effects were really well, and the suit was really cool, and how it formed and eyes coming up. All of that was really cool. One thing that I found interesting was that even though I really like the suit, usually I don't tend to like suits that have less armor. I tend to like Kamen Rider suits where they have a lot of armor, like Build, or another example would be like Fies. They have like armor on them, which is why I gravitated more towards Kamen Rider than other tokusatsus like Super Sentai or Power Rangers. But Zetz's design is very much like just spandex and a little bit of like muscle padding, but I really like it. Maybe that might be because I really like the design of Spider-Man, so I like that. But it really looks really cool, and I don't think it looks goofy. It just looks sick. It just looks sick is what that is. And so the henshins and the suit are really cool, but the main thing that wowed me, the fight scenes were also really, really well done. I'm used to watching like Heisei Kamen Rider CGI, where it's like it looks goofy and silly, but I find it really charming and cool because I like Kamen Rider. Whereas in Zeztz, I was like, this just looks cool. The fight scenes were really well done, especially in the second episode. The second episode, the fights were incredible, really creative with the whole dream aesthetic. That was really cool about that, and how dreams are shown in the show and represented, and how unique it is just from regular fights in Kamen Rider real life, I guess you can say. The way the fight scenes are filmed and shown in the dream world are really cool, because they do really cool stuff with the dreams, like how in the second episode, like the buildings are closing in on them, or how Zeztz just grabs part of the environment and uses it like a cape or like a cloth. That was really cool. But the fight scenes are really good, especially the second episode's motorcycle scene. That was just really, really well done. Really like that. I am interested to see how the different forms will work, because as far as the show goes, we've had like the main form and then kind of like a sub form of Impact with the whole transform. So I do know that they're gonna have like sub forms for the four main forms. So I'll guess we'll see more about that and how all that works. And yeah, that's basically it for my ramblings on Kamen Rider Zeztz as of right now. It's basically just me loving it. But yeah, I guess please let me know your thoughts in the comments below, because I definitely want to hear other people's thoughts on the show, because I'm loving it. Okay, I'm loving it, and it seems like the rest of the Kamen Rider community is also really enjoying it, at least. But I'm like really, really loving it. Like it gives me the same feeling I had when I was watching Kamen Rider Build for the first time. So I'm excited to see where this goes, and if the rest of the show is as good as these first 2 episodes, which is a really high order, because these 2 episodes are just like top tier Kamen Riders. So expecting the rest of the show to be as good as these is like unrealistic. I'm sure there's going to be some episodes where it's more slow. But if they can maintain like somewhat around the area of quality of these 2 episodes, then this is definitely a contender for like my favorite Kamen Rider of all time. But I guess we'll just have to keep watching and finding out what happens, because this clip right here could age completely poorly in like 6 months when the show just like spirals down and whatnot, or it could be, you know, just as amazing as now, and it's gonna be my new favorite Kamen Rider, and all of a sudden in like a year or 2 you're gonna see Zeztz here instead of Build. But I guess we'll see until then. Hopefully you guys enjoy this kind of different content here, where it's just me rambling, because we're probably gonna be doing this every 2 weeks. At least that's the best to go. Alright, well, I'll see you all next time for, I guess, Zeztz Review 2. Bye!